you fool! Thanks to you butting in where you don't belong, those crooks got away with the loot. Stupid!
This is Superman on Red K. Ah, the Silver Age. How I missed it. We've been away for too long. If you're gonna talk about Red Kryptonite, it's best to do it in the Silver Age. It's just so special in this era. A substance that did whatever the writer needed it to, or wanted it to, which resulted in stories ranging from outlandish to outrageous. They're always wild in ways you wouldn't anticipate, even if it's just something little like his beard and nails won't stop growing. Today's outing is a special one because of all the things that can be said to say about Silver Age Superman's psyche. In this story, Superman meets a younger version of himself and absolutely hates him. I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, and we're going to take a look at Superman's self-esteem issues. Pre-Crisis Red Kryptonite was a variant of Green Kryptonite that caused Superman unforeseen consequences that were temporary. Sometimes 12 hours, 24, 48, that also varied. It was usually in the 24 to 48 range though. This one's a little interesting because it's almost a stealth Red K issue. I can't stop saying Red K because of Smallville. We're looking at Action Comics 259 and the story, The Revenge of Luthor. The cover once more trying to force Superman to choose between his loves. Lana Lang, the childhood sweetheart, or Lois Lane, the girlfriend, allegedly, at least if you believe the title of her own book, Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane. Maybe that's why she's not pitching herself very hard on this cover.
That fiend Luthor, the instant I save one girl from his force barrier, the other girl automatically dies. Which one shall I save? Lois Lane or Lana Lang?
Save me! Remember? I was your childhood sweetheart in Smallville. No, save me. That's the expression she has on her face, so that's the tone she's getting. Silly cover. We all know the answer is neither. Last time we talked about Superman's love life on this channel, it was for an imaginary tale, where he got married 3 times, and each time his wife died. And then he questioned who he should save, even though if he time traveled to save Lois, his first wife, then the other 2 would have lived as well. Sus Clark. Why is this a decision? What are you trying to say? The Revenge of Luthor is written by Jerry Siegel, with art, inks, and pencils by Al Plastino. It has a fantastic teaser page that instantly shows us the dynamic that we're in for. Easy, why should I bother lifting one measly freight car, Superman, when I can tow the entire train?
So you think you're greater than me, eh, Superboy? Top this!
The proper story starts off with Superman catching a meteor in his hands and instantly regretting it. It was coming for a plane, there was a reason. Streaking in, the Man of Steel catches the meteor, but then...
What have I done? It's a great hunk of red kryptonite. I should have got rid of it with a blast of my super breath.
Now he knows he's in for shenanigans of some kind. But which kind? That's the question. That must be the great stress of Silver Age Red Kryptonite, just not knowing what it could be. Are you not going to be able to cut your nails for a week? Is it the ant head again? A super nightmare plagues the Man of Steel.
Faces rushing at me with the speed of rockets. Faces. Faces.
This panel is just cool, even though I'm missing Kurt Schaffenberg or Lois. But if you look at it from a certain angle, it looks like Lois is going to eat his hand. Despite passing out and seeing faces, Superman figures maybe he's fine. Maybe this one's just the fainting Red Kryptonite. But then, le gasp, he sees his younger self, who was one of the faces he saw when he passed out.
But you can't exist at the same time I do. You're me. As a youngster, you ceased to exist years ago because I grew into an adult.
Every time, that line makes me laugh every time. You can't be me, I'm an adult. Then how come I'm here? Answer me that.
The Red Kryptonite meteor collision. That's what did it. That crazy, unpredictable Red Kryptonite. It snatched you out of the past and deposited you in the world of today. If that's true, I'll never see Mon again. Actual single manly tear.
Young Clark, so Superboy, is devastated by this turn of events. He's having a bit of a crisis about it, but Superman is just trying to scan him to check and see if he's a robot. It's a valid concern, and it's good that he's not just taking this apparition at face value, but there's something about the fact that he's doing it as Superboy stands before him in tears that just feels very callous. It adds layers to Clark's behavior inside this story. After confirming that they are indeed the same person through various means, Superman decides that he's going to store Superboy at the Fortress of Solitude.
I've told you the location of my Fortress of Solitude. Go there. Meanwhile, I'll change back to Clark Kent, report back to the Daily Planet. Hey, what are you doing?
Changing back into my Clark Kent identity, of course. Like I always do.
You fool! If word gets out that Superboy and Superman exist simultaneously, and if people were to see a young Clark Kent and a grown-up Clark Kent at the same time, they'd put 2 and 2 together.
And realize Clark Kent is Superman's other identity. I guess I made a boo-boo.
On a matter of such vital importance, we can't afford to make mistakes. What happened? Did the Red Kryptonite that brought you here make you stupid?
If it made me stupid, it gave you a terrible temper. It was at that moment I knew I'd love this story forever. Superman is not done judging/berating his younger self by a long shot. Things go further awry when there is an attempted bank robbery where the robbers are pretending to be Martians. As you do. Superboy, who got bored in the fortress, decides he's gonna come in and try and help, and that means that the two collide in midair.
You fool! Cool, thanks to you butting in where you don't belong. Those crooks got away with the loot. Stupid!
Temper, everybody's staring at us. If you're gonna bawl me out, at least do it in private. Yeah, go and berate and possibly beat the person who looks like your son in private. We live in a society. Do you think Superman has some unresolved issues about his efficacy when he was Superboy? You can read so many layers into this story.
I'm sorry I lost my temper. Let's try to get along well together. Would you like to help me nab a counterfeiter?
Would I? Let's go. I guess we got started on the wrong foot. Maybe we can work together as a great team. And so the cycle of abuse begins. The two team up to look inside a counterfeiter's lockbox, but Superboy, using his X-ray vision, somehow he does it wrong and he burns the money. Yeah, you use too much X-ray vision. There's nothing in this box but ashes. Thanks for destroying the evidence, kid.
You've ruined everything again. Don't you know how to control your X-ray vision? As I recall, I was quite clever as a youth, but you, the way you keep blundering makes me ashamed of myself, because you're me. Oh boy, a rodeo.
Anything to escape the scorn of fully adult Superman. Now, this one part is indeed very irresponsible. Superboy just lands in the middle and his bright red cape, it causes the bulls to stampede. It's a problem. Quickly, Superman restores order, then argues furiously with Superboy.
Furthermore, if you're going to act stupid, keep away from me. I don't want my work sabotaged by a Superboy made stupid by Red Kryptonite.
Clark needs a thesaurus. Oh yeah? And I don't want any part of a super hothead. Your collision with that Red Kryptonite made you too touchy. You and I are through. I want to know what the Daily Planet headline for this is going to be, especially if Clark writes it. Now remember, they were supposed to keep this a secret because people watch the news, which reports this, and Lex is watching. And seeing this, he instantly comes up with a plan where he can get rid of both of them, or just one, because really he just needs one in this scenario. There is a really menacing Lex panel here, the way the shadow is shrouding half his face. There is real atmosphere here. More than he needs for what his plan is. And so, one day, as Superboy swoops along on patrol, one day? How long has this Red K lasted? Luthor trapped to capture Superboy. Enter here, please. Now I've seen everything. Nobody would deliberately put me on guard by putting a sign like that on a real trap. Curiously, well, let's face it, stupidly, the Boy of Steel enters the trap. It's kryptonite lined. I'm passing out. I didn't even look to see that it was green. I captured Superboy through his sheer dumbness. Sheer dumbness is wonderful, even though it doesn't flow quite as well as sheer stupidity, but they have been using that word a lot this issue. They needed to vary it up, get some synonyms in there, add some spice to our insults towards Superboy's intelligence, although sheer dumbness does encapsulate how Superboy fell into this trap. So that's how he captures Superboy, but what about Superman? Later that day, at a spot along Superman's scheduled patrol, Superman, I've had it. I've been brooding over those unkind things you said about me. Put up your fists.
Maybe you ought to be taught a lesson at that.
I mean, he can't go too hard. Reverse Flash rules, right? If he takes himself out too badly, that's gonna affect him. Are those the rules we're working with? It doesn't matter, it's a robot. Should have done that robot check. This robot was also full of green kryptonite. Not powered by, just full of. And in case you forgot the premise on the cover, now we get to it. This is part of the master plan that Luthor has cooked up.
Lois!
It's Lana Lang, grown up into an adult. Okay, so he's got the woman inside some kind of force globe thing. And if they're put outside of it, they're not going to be insulated from certain rays and they will die. And so he needs Superman and Superboy to fight. And the loser's girl also dies with them.
And if we refuse to fight?
Then both girls die. Start slugging. Let them fight. Lex came up with this plan so fast. I like to think he had some kind of fantasy journal, a just in case of young Superboy break glass. The thing is, Superman and Superboy are at an impasse. Despite the age difference, they're evenly matched. Superman has not improved or changed in skill at all. He's just gotten angrier. But Lex was prepared for this. A double-chambered metal cabinet rises up out of the floor. Luthor bids Superboy enter one chamber and closes the door afterward. The evil scientist allows Superman to rise. The cabinet is constructed of lead, which is impervious to your X-ray vision. Superboy is in one cabinet, a deadly kryptonite meteor is in the other. You will open one of those doors immediately, Superman. If you open the Superboy door, I will kill him with kryptonite, and the rest of you will go free, except for now dead Superman, because he won't exist. However, if you open the door which hides the meteor, then you die, Superman, and the others go free. I have calculated that Superboy will soon return to his own time era. Time era? When the effects of that red kryptonite wear off. And now, Superman, choose. Let us see who will die. I mean, but you just told him that, so can't he just wait it out? How soon is soon? Is it like 5 minutes? We'll take this plan on its own internal logic. We have to go all in. Topical time of recording DC reference joke. There's a really good close-up panel here when Superman's debating what to do. It's the sliver of his face and you get both his eyes, and there's this little detail in the fact that when he's squinting and the fact that his eyes aren't perfectly symmetrical, that it just mimics an actual face, and it's quite arresting. Just that subtle offness. Superman starts to doubt everything. Superboy's trying to contact him with Morse code, he's tapping his feet and all that, but he doesn't trust that. Is Superboy trying to save himself? Although if he does, he's just dooming himself to die at this point, depending upon the time travel logic in play, but it's fine, because Superman would never have to make a decision like that. The sound of Luthor's mocking laughter still rings in Superman's ears as he awakens at the very spot where he had fallen to Earth after colliding with the Red Kryptonite meteor.
It was all a dream, induced by my being exposed to Red Kryptonite. I should have known, because Luthor is safely imprisoned in jail. Actually, if Superboy really materialized, we would get along fine and make a great team.
Sure, Jan. I don't think I believe. Who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Superman sighs with relief. But later, as he reflects, a shiver courses up his super spine.
But what if it hadn't been a dream? What desperate choice would I have made if it had happened in real life? The Superboy door? Or the Kryptonite?
I guess we'll never know, because they utilized get out of jail free dream logic trap card. It was super effective. This is pre-imaginary stories being the framework for this type of tale, but it feels very much like the structure of an imaginary story. Despite the dream scenario, having Superman pass out and hallucinate is one of the tamer, more plausible functions Red Kryptonite could have. Framing it inside of a dream means getting to avoid any ramifications of Superman actually having to make a choice. But then it also raises all kinds of questions surrounding the workings of Clark's internal psyche. Why does he have so much anger towards his younger self? There seems to be a lot of judgment for his time as Superboy if one reads this as a dream, sorting through his subconscious concerns. The framework is there as a cushion, so the story can go all out, and you can have some of those more over-the-top moments. And then at the end, the status quo is maintained, and the players are foreshadowed inside the panel of faces when Clark passes out, so it's not that shocking. But given all the happenings that occurred in the early Silver Age, it would also have been feasible if it had actually been time travel. Red K ripping a tear in the fabric of space and time, why not? Now, when some hear Superman fought Superboy, they may think, wait, didn't this happen another time? But one of the other times it could have happened? But specifically, some may think of 1963 Adventure Comics 304, the war between Superboy and Superman. It even mentions Red K on the cover. This one was also written by Jerry Siegel. Well, this is a classic instance of cover bait. That's not Superman, that's Roz M, one of the many still existing Kryptonians within the Silver Age. That one's good. But is it dreaming about how much you hate your younger self and maybe would kill them good? There is some entertainment value to be had comparing this Superman to more modern iterations, but even on its own, the story has many fun moments. The fake alien attack, Luthor's trap that succeeds through Superboy's sheer dumbness. However, this tale is fully in Silver Age mode, and early Silver Age at that. So for those who don't enjoy the story style or pacing or just overall tone of this era, this story is deeply embedded in that, and so for those who don't enjoy it, it may not be that great of an outing for them. Now, since post-crisis made it that Superman didn't grow up being Superboy, there's just a different trajectory for him there. He no longer has that history, and so you can't play with him judging his youthful superhero antics against his adult ones the same way. Even the Legion stuff is different post-crisis. So even if played comedically, this is an interesting idea with some merit. But those are just my thoughts, and now I want to hear yours. Do you think Superman was ready to kill Superboy? Lana or Lois is the answer, Lex. Share your thoughts down below. And while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time today spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.